Hello, I'm Robert, and I'm going to explain how my non-techie Sentry table relates to the techie one. This is for NASA asteroid warnings. So if you go and look at my page, and it just says no asteroid or comet warnings, all those tracked are harmless to Earth as of Tuesday, November 26. So if you go and look at the techie one, then it's not at all clear to your average person looking at it, but this says exactly the same thing, which is all massive numbers, and there's no clear statement of what it actually means. So if we go back to my one, I'll explain how the two are related to each other and how it is that this actually says the same thing. So if you go down to the table itself, then I've got all the objects there, it's the same ones. And now, so you've got 1950 DA, 1950 DA, 2880, it's got 2880 to 2280, they do it twice for some reason. And then it says they just have it blank. Blank there means far future. So I've just put the words far future. See 2880 and 2175 for far in the future. That's all that means. And then 0 here means no hazard. So I just replace 0 by no hazard. And the thing is, for mathematicians and astronomers, and I know what it's like because I was trained as a mathematician, then that is simpler to read than that is, because you haven't got all these words, you've just got numbers. A little simple 0, much quicker to read than 2 words, no hazard. But that's what it means. And if you go and look, they have a legend at the bottom. It's quite hard to find, but if you hunt around you'll find the legend. And Torino scale, you've got to look up these words, Torino scale, and then look up the legend, look up what the number 0 means, and it explains that 0 means no hazard. So, and then you have the diameter, and that's the only other thing. All these other numbers, I leave them out, because they're not really needed by most people. So there's the diameter, 1.3 kilometers, 0.49 kilometers, which means the same as 490 meters. I think most people would find that easier to read than that, especially when you get to really small ones. This one, then if you go down here and you look, then that's 0.002, that's just 2 meters. That's just 7 meters, 0.007. So 7 meters is really tiny, and I put the word tiny after it is small. This is just going to burn up in the atmosphere as a fireball. So that it means the same as that. 0.002, go down here, we'll find, there we are, 2 meters. And if we go across, it'll be the same one. So where's that 2? See, 2018 VP1. 2018 VP1 down to 2 meters, no hazard, because they all say 0. It gives the same dates. 2020 to 2025, 2020 to 2025. That's all I've done. And I'm not doing anything, I'm not scraping this page. The NASA have a publicly accessible database, and they tell you how to interrogate it. And I'm just following their instructions for how to build a table like this one. But I did it differently. I did it with words instead of numbers. I'm doing exactly the same thing that this table is doing, interrogating their database, but I'm just showing it as words instead of numbers. That's why they are exactly the same, because they are interrogating the same database. And then if you click on one of these things, like that, then you get these details for it. And it says there's no hazard, which we already know. It gives the first date it could hit, and it also, if I've got debunk, it links to my debunk. Now, if you go and click to it there, on the same one, Apophis, let's bring it up in a new window, then you get this. Now you see a whole mass of numbers, V impact and all that. But this is exactly the same data that I'm presenting here, but they're presented as tables. Because I said all these things, and sigma LOV and stretch LOV, impact probability, distance and so on. All is the sort of stuff that an asteroid expert or a mathematician would want to see, and all these nice numbers. But for most people, then this is easier to read. Although for them, this would be much harder to read, because it's got all these unnecessary words that most people don't need, that a mathematician or astrophysicist or astronomer Asteroid expert doesn't need all these words, because these numbers are perfectly clear without them. And so that's all. That's hopefully now you can understand how my table works. And people are worrying about Apophis. Then so I've talked about that separately, but you can bring up that debunk, and this then explains it. So again, they don't need debunks because they know all this stuff. But if you don't know this stuff, as most of the people I help, then my little debunk there will help you have a better understanding of Apophis. And so hope that helps. That's why I did it. And then you see all these numbers. If you go and look at this page, then if you go back, if you go back to this page, all those numbers are 0, and it's arranged with the one with the highest risk first, which is no hazard. In other words, there's no hazard at all because the first one is 0. And that's what mine does. So when you go to the tract, then it searches it, it sorts it with the highest risk first, and if the highest risk is no hazard, which it is today, then it says current highest risk, if any, no hazard. And sometimes it might go up to normal, which again is nothing, no problem. And the very highest it's ever gone up is Apophis. At one point went all the way up to the highest level of being of interest to astronomers. It has never ever been a proper asteroid warning. So, simplest way to check is through my non-techy table, and I will put a link in the comments to this video, so you can then go there and you can find out for yourself whether there are any asteroid warnings. But this isn't really needed at all. All the fake news you see in Google News is spammed by Daily Express. They just make stuff up. They're well known for that in the UK. They made up this story about a comedian eating a hamster. They make up all these stories, just make things up totally. Make up dates, make up probabilities, and they attach them to asteroids that have no chance of hitting us at all. They just make up all sorts of silly stuff. It doesn't nothing to do with what. It's not a NASA asteroid warning. They'll say big words, NASA asteroid warning, and this thing is going to hit on such and such a date with a very high probability. And it's just made up. A lot of it's just made up. And certainly there's never been any NASA asteroid warning. And so lots of various other things you can explore around here. Did you know? And this is, did you know that if the Egyptians had developed asteroid detection telescopes, they would still be waiting for the first city killer impact? It's really, these things are really, really rare. You know, even the smallest ones. The Chelyabinsk one, that all you would have needed is to warn people, and they would have all been saved of their injuries. I think I've said everything. And this is my. I've talked about this some more. I don't want to keep this. I want to keep this short. So just check in the video description, and you will find the link to my page. And oh yes, that's what I was going to say. So you find the link to my page, but you don't actually really need to do this, because if there ever was a real asteroid warning and it went all the way up to being of something that the general public needs to know about, then first of all, then you wouldn't hear just from the Daily Express. First of all, it would spread everywhere around social media, and it's all done in the public, totally in the public. You can look at the observations for Apophis, and that's all in the public as well. And as soon, if there ever was an asteroid that has a significant risk of hitting, then everybody would know. As soon as you log into your social media, and it would just be buzzing around, and there'd be these astronomers and astrophysicists and whatever, these astronomers and asteroid experts, and people from NASA and from ESA would just be telling everyone about it, and they'd be on TV telling people about it and giving you all the details. And so you wouldn't need my table. Nobody's ever going to really need my table, except if they're scared and they want a bit of reassurance, and that's why I've done it. If there ever was a real warning, then NASA and the Minor Planet Center, and then so they would just be the trusted place to go. They used to think in terms of that they'd have an official announcement from NASA and from the Minor Planet Center. But they don't think that way anymore, because with social media that's impossible. Because it is all done in the open. There's nothing secret about this. All the observations are uploaded to the Minor Planet Center. All the orbit prediction updates are uploaded to the Sentry table. And so anyone who can just read the techie stuff will know, as soon as the scientists themselves know. And so, or just momentarily after, someone's made the calculation, they pop it up on the table, and all the other astronomers to see, and then at that point, anyone who's a little bit techie will know, and they'll be telling all their friends. They just can't be kept a lid on. And so they used to think, we will prepare a proper announcement and then give that to the public. That's not going to work like that, because there just isn't even an hour in order to work out an announcement before everyone knows about it. So instead, everybody will know, but then you need to go to NASA and to the Minor Planet Center, and they will be the trusted sources, and they would have pages and people talking and videos, and they'd be interviewed on television and so on, and they would be the one who tells everyone the latest results and what's going on. And if they do these FEMA exercises every 2 years, preparedness exercises, and if you want to get a rough idea of what it would be like, then what the announcements would be like and so on, you can go and have a look at these exercises, where it's pretty much the same thing, except they say that it's totally fictional. So all the announcements that you would have from them, but with red light writing at the top saying this is fictional. So, hope this helps you anyway.